Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. I apologize for our class mishap this evening. I'm actually recording this around the same time that we would be having class, and I do apologize. I just got back this afternoon from Florida to Pittsburgh, and I didn't anticipate the internet being out, and then also didn't anticipate not having a place to be able to go if that happened. So, as an online student, we always have to be prepared and have other internet options. But with COVID, it's making it a little difficult. Unfortunately, I can't get into my building at work after 6:30 without special permission from Human Resources. So I couldn't go to my building, and sadly, and I tried this last term. I had one night where the internet went out about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes through class, and I tried to stream Zoom through my phone, and it just wouldn't support it. The cell service here isn't strong enough. So hopefully everyone's had a good week. You're doing well, and I do apologize. We'll certainly catch up next week and get moving on next week's work, but then also the case that you'd worked on. So our work for this week was to go over content, markets, buyer behavior, specifically business buyer behavior we're going to take a look at, but then also segmentation and targeting, which is an important piece of the marketing puzzle. We won't go over the Wendy's case tonight because you're not here to talk about it, but we'll do that next week. And I haven't prepared it yet. I'll do it actually right after I finish this. But I do want to adjust the cases. So you won't, the next case is the IKEA case, I think. That won't be due this coming weekend. We'll adjust it so that it fits better with, well, I'm assuming it won't be due. If you have an assignment due in your other class this weekend, you won't have the IKEA case due, and we'll adjust things for everything going on with your other class. I'll try and adjust that. We have the IKEA case. I think there's Stella Artois case. That might be it. So we only have a few more. Maybe there's one more, and then the final project. But I'll adjust that, and I'll post that. Hopefully I'll post them this evening. If the internet is still stated to come up sometime after 8 o'clock. So hopefully that's the case. But I've lived here for 4 years, so I know that there are issues with those things here, and it doesn't always happen. So if it doesn't come up tonight, I'll get everything posted in the morning from work, where hopefully they have internet. So what I did want to talk about, excuse me, is business buyer behavior. So business buyer behavior is a little bit different than consumer buyer behavior. So consumer buyer behavior is the person, I'm drinking a La Croix water. So I am a consumer, and I'm interested in purchasing a sparkling water product. My behavior is to find something that has an orangey taste, and that is a reasonable price and tastes good. So I buy La Croix tangerine because I like that. I actually don't like La Croix orange. I only like La Croix tangerine, or pamplemousse, the grapefruit one, also good. But so that's a consumer buyer behavior. What is the behavior of buyers in the consumer marketplace? Business buyer behavior is kind of a step back from that. So I think, and I apologize to keep using the fruit juice folks as an example, but it's pretty easy example. Fruit juice can't be made without fruit, and the fruit juice company is not making their own fruit. So you are going to have to engage business. You are going to be a business buyer. You're going to have to engage business sellers to purchase fruit from. And so business buyer behavior is an entirely different side of marketing than what we look at as consumer buyer behavior. We need to, if we are in a position where we are selling to a business buyer, like for example, the grocery bag product. If you find that there's a company that's selling all sorts of these grocery bag products, and they can take yours and make it part of a set or something like that, so they're using it to make something else out of, that's a great thing. One of the things we're seeing right now is fabric. So there are lots of fabric companies out there that are making specialty fabric for masks because people want masks that have, Star Wars on them, and comic books on them and cartoon characters on them. And so there's already some fabric out there with that, but there's a pretty hot market right now for specialty fabric. And I'll give an example. So now I live in the Orlando area now, and the carpet at the Orlando airport it's pretty ugly, but it's kind of something that people look forward to when if they come to Orlando a lot for vacation. They look forward to this. It's a green carpet with these lines of like flowers through it. It's kind of a 70s carpet looking thing, but it's something that people that love Orlando and love, that whole process of getting to town and getting off the airplane and that whole thing, they love it. So there's a company that I'm familiar with that's selling masks made out of the same pattern as that Orlando airport carpet. Well, they actually had to have that made. So they were a business buyer. They were buying a good, in this case, a piece of fabric, a specialty made piece of fabric, in order to sell that, make it into cloth masks for people to wear and sell it. But the gentleman that owns the company, I know, and he went through like 5 different companies before he found one that would provide him with a product of the right quality, at the right price, with the right detail in the fabric. So business buyer behavior is very important. If we are selling a product that we think may be used in another business transaction. So there are lots of things that impact business buyer behavior, just like we see in the in normal consumer world. Product, price, place, promotion, all very important. But also things like economy, technology, the political spectrum. You can go back to masks. You can see masks that say, Biden Harris 2020. You can see masks that say Trump Pence 2020. You can see masks that say all sorts of things related to the political spectrum. So that whole notion of politics does make a play, not even just in those overt reasons like that, but in the types of reasons we've talked about in the past. If a particular seller has made it clear that they have certain political beliefs or that they support certain political issues, that may drive buyers away from them. So that happens at the consumer level, but it also happens at the business level. So really important. Same with cultural issues. We're seeing right now a wonderful upsurge in folks in America supporting African American owned businesses. And a lot of these are small businesses. So small businesses that weren't really getting a lot of play because there are so many small businesses. And now they're really kind of getting uplifted because of folks that are specifically seeking that in a business relationship or even just in the consumer relationship, specifically seeking that particular type of seller because of the cultural situation here in the U.S. So all really important stuff. And then competition overall has a play. And I'll go back to my Orlando mask example. If he's buying fabric if there's only one company that'll make that fabric, he's going to pay top dollar. But he had, like 5 different companies that would make the fabric. So it was all about competition and who was going to provide him the best deal for his dollar. So that happens on the business side as well. And then obviously things like service terms, delivery terms, payment, all of that plays in as well. So a few different buying situations that occur in a business buyer relationship. The straight rebuy is where, maybe I always we'll use the fruit juice again. So I always need X amount of mangoes for my juice. And this guy has, a grove of mango trees or something that constantly is creating more mangoes than he needs, and he's able to sell that. And so as the buyer, as the juice maker, I routinely reorder that, and I'm not asking for anything different. Give me all the mangoes you can give me at this price. So that's kind of a straight rebuy. A modified rebuy might be a situation where, like for the masks. So, hey, I know I've been buying your regular fabrics, your fabrics with, different colors and patterns and cartoon characters and all those things. But you know what? I'm really interested in a custom fabric. So tell me, what I want the same type of fabric, same quality, same amount, but how much would it be for a custom situation. I want that Orlando Airport carpet fabric. So that would kind of be a modified rebuy. I'm buying from someone that I've been buying from, but it's a different situation. And then a new task would be a situation where a buyer is buying product for their organization to make their product from a new place. So again, we'll go with the juice company. The juice company finds out that there's another farm down the street they haven't been buying from, and they have a surplus, and they've been selling the surplus, maybe at a farm stand or something. But hey, I'll buy that surplus. You don't have to work the farm stand. I'll make juice out of it. It's a win-win for everyone. So that would be considered a new task. Another situation is what's called system selling. So it's buying a complete solution to a problem. So we have an example here. Six Flags. So Six Flags is a theme park company in the United States. I don't think they have anything out of the U.S. They may, but generally it seems like a U.S. company. And let's just say that they need a solution to their payment systems up front. They want to make sure that people can swipe their credit cards, or they can buy product online, tickets and whatnot, and feel comfortable that their information is being protected. And Six Flags knows that they are not an IT company. They know that they are a theme park. So they want to do well what they do well, things like roller coasters here. Looks like the LA Kings cheerleaders on this roller coaster for some odd reason. But so they know that they do well with theme parks, but they probably don't do well with technology. Or they may do a mediocre job. So they can hire a company, like in this case, it talks about IBM, and IBM can come in and bring an entire solution for that problem to the company. We actually see that a lot in the healthcare systems. We have a revenue cycle, which is kind of birth to death of the actual account for a patient. So from the time they make an appointment until the time the bill is a zero balance, that's called revenue cycle. And revenue cycle solutions, revenue cycle management is something that is being outsourced quite frequently as an entire solution being purchased from someone else. Dietary. A lot of places will outsource their entire dietary solution. So all of the food being made, delivered to the floors, dietitians on staff to make sure hospitals are feeding people the right things, all of that. Facilities is sometimes outsourced. So they'll just buy an entire solution where the company will come in and just provide all of the facilities stuff. So fixing things, cleaning, all the kind of stuff that you would expect from your facilities or your engineering department, done by an external vendor. So those are like system selling. It's not like they're just buying a computer from IBM. They're actually buying an entire system that will fix their problems. Lots of participants in the business buying process, so users, influencers, so folks that are involved in the process to define the specs and determine who is going to get the job in the long run. Buyers, so oftentimes large companies will have buyers, and buyers are tasked with going out and selecting suppliers, figuring out who they're going to get the product from, all of that. So those are buyers. Deciders are people that are kind of at the top of the chain to say, okay, yeah, we're the ones that we give you the final approval for who's going to who we're going to purchase this product from. And then gatekeepers also. They can kind of control the information in the process. So it can be a challenging situation, this whole notion of the buying center, which are, let's go back here. Oh, I guess I took that slide out of the buying center. Yeah, I must have taken that out. But it's really kind of about these people. So the buying center concept, there are so many people here involved in this process. It's not like just between you and the consumer. There's a multitude of people involved in the process. So what's important for influencing the business buyer is, okay, who's participating in the decision? who are you going to interact, if you're the seller, who are you going to interact with, to make sure you're getting that information to the right people, not just people that work there. I can't tell you how many emails I get every day, especially now with the COVID stuff, that say, hey, here's a COVID testing solution for your university, or, here's what you should do for your online classes. I have no control over any of those things. So they're just peppering everyone that they can, with emails, because it's a free, ultimately a free sales technique, to get information out there. Not the best technique, though, unfortunately. You really need to, okay, who actually participates in these decisions? Get in touch with those people, create a genuine relationship with them. That's where you want to be, even as a business buyer. So we've kind of already talked about the various different pieces that can fall into place. And just know that business buying is more complex, because there are many players. It's not just a consumer situation. There are many players in the decision making process, and sometimes there's actually red tape as well. Like, okay, well, I really want to buy this from you, but hey, you're 3 cents more than your competitor, and our state contract says that we have to pay. We can only buy from the lowest available bid. So hey, can you lower your price 3 cents per item, whatever. So those types of things come up in a business relationship. So, excuse me. So, just in moving through the entire process, realizing you have a problem. So you're looking to create a product that you don't have the pieces to create. Then creating a general need description, product specs, supplier search, soliciting proposals, then ultimately making a selection for your supplier, having an order routine specification. So, what is the process for ordering it? How do you get things in? What is the quality assurance specs there? And then moving forward to performance review. So, how well is your contract working with that person? So we've kind of already talked about these things: problem recognition. Okay, we need to create a new product from the internal or the external environment. So I might go to a trade show and see, oh my gosh, everyone is now, I run a consulting firm. So, oh my gosh, all the consultants now seem to have this particular type of banner in their booth. So that would be an external stimuli. I would be like, oh gosh, in order for me to operate properly, I'm going to need to go out and get that type of product, as opposed to internal stimuli. So maybe some folks in my organization say, we really haven't been doing a lot of research compliance work. Why don't we move ahead and kind of create new product there in the research compliance realm, which may need marketing materials. It may need new staff. It may need other parts. Maybe we need to purchase some expertise in that area, different types of databases, etc. So internal or external stimuli can create that problem recognition piece. General need description. So this is, okay, yes, we need it. How many of it we need? All of those types of things. So that's just your general description. Product specs are the actual technical criteria for the product. So I harken back to the mask made of the carpet at MCO, but they had very specific product specs. Okay, I want a piece of fabric this size, this thread count, and I want this printed on it. So very specific product specs. And then a value analysis, where you're going to look at, okay, can we redesign this process? Can we use less costly pieces? All of those types of things to bring more value to the customer. Supplier search, obvious, looking for the most qualified buyer. Proposal solicitation is that process of getting those proposals. And then making a selection. So supplier selection is that whole notion of getting that list of suppliers and making the best choice for your company. Order routine specs is that final order, all of the specs, and making sure that that whole process is followed. And then performance review, we've already talked about. So those are just kind of an overview of that process. It's very similar to a regular consumer product purchase, but so much more red tape involved, even with a small business. I'm not going to just go out and buy for, let's say, for my business. So my business is myself and my husband, but then also I have contractors that work for me. So let's say I decide I want to get some new auditing software. So that feeds what we do. So that's kind of a product for us that a buyer would purchase. I'm not going to do that without, even though I own the company, I am the president. I'm not going to do that without talking to my contractors, because they're the ones out there on the front line that are doing the auditing and making sure that the work is getting done. So I'd certainly want to get their input to get something that works for them. And I think that's the key with business buyer behavior, is that business buyers aren't just a consumer. They're a whole cadre of consumers that may have different needs and wants, may have different attitudes, may have different technological needs, etc. So all of those pieces play in, and instead of being one buyer, we're talking about a bunch of people that make up one buyer. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, Something that's been more common, especially now, but even before now under COVID, things like e-procurement and online purchasing. When I worked for the United Health Group, which was a few years back, but when I worked there, I worked from my home in New York, and I also had, my boss was in Minnesota, and she was also at home, but there was an office in Minnesota and an office in Salt Lake. So when I first went to work there, if I needed a pen, I would have to contact the office in Salt Lake, say, "Hey, can you send me a box of pens, or can you send me some toner, or a box of paper," or something like that. And then shortly into that relationship that I had with them, which goes back to the early 2000s, they said, "Look, we're not going to do this anymore. We have staff spread all over the country. We're going to put together, we're going to work with a company, which happened to be Staples, for an e-procurement solution. So instead of having to contact the people in Salt Lake saying, "Hey, can you order me 2 boxes of pens and 1 slab of paper?" they actually just let me go out and buy it myself. And if it was under a certain amount, or if it were certain items like paper and folders and pens and that kind of stuff, there was no, I just could buy it, and it was charged to the company, and it came to my house, and that was great. If it was over a certain amount, or if it was something that wasn't on the normal list of things, it actually got elevated. I was still able to place the order. It would be elevated to my manager. She would approve it, and it would go through. So really great options for those of you that have companies that are focused in a realm, or will have companies, or will work for companies that are focused in a realm where an online buying system will work for business buyers. Obviously, we know that works for consumers sometimes. Not everyone can manage it, but generally it works for consumers. Let's see what we can do to sell to other businesses as well. So something like online purchasing, like this business advantage, which is what I was involved in, or like just a sales site, but where you offer maybe wholesale prices to businesses, etc. So think about that. I don't know how immediately that would impact any of your projects, but it's something to think about. Lots of advantages. You can get access to new folks. You can lower costs, speeds order processing, delivery, information sharing, sales, service support, all of those good things that come from regular communication with your buyer, between buyer and seller. Disadvantage is that you don't get that personal contact that you get typically between a business buyer and a seller. That's often a direct sales technique, or at least the buyer is reaching out to the seller and say, "Hey, do you have this? I'm interested in buying it from you." That kind of goes away in these online systems. But I think what we're going to see, especially in this new world, is that people like the online systems. I am one that, if I can order something online, and not have to go to a store or not have to talk to somebody about it, I will pay a premium for that, because I don't want the hassle of having to go down talking to a salesman. The last car I purchased from Carvana. It was a completely online purchase. I never talked to a salesperson. I never even saw anyone until I went. We have a car vending machine here. I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials, but we happen to have a car vending machine here in the Pittsburgh area. I went down to the vending machine. They gave me a big coin. I put it in there. My car came out of the sky. It was up in the tower with a big bow on it. So it's such an easy process, and I will never purchase a car a different way. An incredibly easy process. So those types of things create um, it creates an erosion of the old relationships that, oh, if I had gone down to, Bob's Hyundai to buy a car in the past, and then I didn't go back there because, Bob was a salesman and I didn't want to talk to a salesman. I wanted to go and have an easy transaction. I think we're finding that more and more people would prefer that easy transaction. So let's see what we can do to provide that for those that want it, but then also have a side where if people do want to talk to a human, if they do want to work something out that's special, that you have that option as well. So like something like Carvana, that's not how it works. Like you buy it online, the minute you drive that car off the lot, it's not their problem anymore. They actually outsource their follow-up works to a different company. So from obviously most states have like a lemon law kind of thing for used cars. I think here in Pennsylvania it was 90 days. So if I had a problem with the car within 90 days, if I had bought it from Bob's Hyundai down the street, I'd have driven the car right back to Bob's Hyundai and said, fix this, there's something wrong with it. That's not how Carvana works. I would have to call the number, which was not Carvana, it was a contractor, and say, okay, I've got a problem with my car, what do I do? And then they would facilitate you getting it fixed, obviously. But it's a much different process than if you have that one-on-one personal relationship with a salesperson. So there's good and bad to it, and I think the best companies do both. So the best companies offer an e-procurement option, but also offer direct sales expertise and techniques as well. Okay, sorry about that. My computer decided that it wanted to try and update itself, which I'm not sure how it can do that. It's not connected to the internet, or maybe it is. I'm not sure what time it is. Maybe the internet has come back up. But anyway, it tried to shut down this program that I'm using to record this. So anyway. Creating value for customers, one of the ways that we can do that is segmentation and targeting. And segmentation and targeting is about it's not about business buyer behavior specifically. It could be. You could use segmentation and targeting to market to business buyers, but it's generally just general marketing technique. And so segmentation is really about dividing your market into smaller segments. So when we market to everyone, that's called mass marketing. So think about Super Bowl ads that go out to, all of whoever's watching the Super Bowl. Things like Coca-Cola and Budweiser, and they just mass market because anyone might want to buy a soda or a beer or an Apple phone or a specific type of computer. So that's very much mass marketing. Segmentation is a much more finessed way to market, and it's really about breaking your market down into specific segments that have specific needs or characteristics or etc. And it may require that you market to different segments that are interested in your product in a different way. So you can segment geographically. You can segment by demographics is one way, psychographics, behavioral segmentation, so all different ways that you can market. So think about let's say, actually, there's a case study that I do in my healthcare marketing class that is for a drug. It's for a weight loss drug. Now, the weight loss drug is it's targeted at people that are looking to lose some weight, maybe 25, 30 pounds, not patients that are morbidly obese, typically patients that fall into the overweight range with BMI and those types of things. So generally, this product is known to market to women, middle-aged women specifically, because that's the market of people that are, to a point where either they're sick of their clothes not fitting them, or they're sick of not feeling well, or not feeling good about themselves, or whatever. So they make an effort more than just, eating a salad or trying to do some exercise. They want to take a concerted effort to try and lose weight, and they think that this drug could help. However, it is equally as effective in men, but you're going to market very differently between men and women because different things appeal to them. So I think all you need to do to understand that is to look at an ad for something like there's a like a testosterone booster or something. It's an over-the-counter supplement type of thing, that's marketed here in the U.S. quite a bit, and I'm not sure if it's marketed outside of the U.S. But Frank Thomas, who was a kind of a big dude, baseball player, good-looking guy, markets this product, and he's older. He is of the age group. He's probably late 40s, maybe early 50s. I would say he's about my age, so probably late 40s. Good-looking guy, big dude selling this testosterone booster. So guys are going to see that and be like, "Oh wow, if Frank Thomas is using this, I would feel good about using that." Now, not that women would use a testosterone booster, I wouldn't think generally, but then compare that to an ad for something like a weight loss drug for women that is all flowery and it's about women empowering themselves, and it's a whole different type. They're not going to put on that ad a bunch of tiny, skinny little women, because women that would be using that drug are not going to respond to that. So they're going to put average looking women that are using the drug and seeing success. So that's what you're going to see to market to women, as opposed to men. They want to see the end product. They want to see the Frank Thomas, some good looking big dude that's in good shape, that is what they want to be. So just that kind of segmentation is really important. It's not just about segmenting your market and understanding it, but actually then targeting your marketing, which is the next piece. So geographic, we've already kind of gone over these things, but obviously dividing by geography, demographics, dividing by things like age, life cycle, gender, income, etc. So the example that I was giving, age and life cycle, segmentation, gender segmentation, income segmentation. So we've already kind of talked about those things. Psychographic segmentation divides a market into oftentimes their lifestyle or personality characteristics. So I find this interesting. I actually had lunch from Panera today. There's a Panera down the street from like just as you come out of the airport, and I don't get Panera very often. I don't know why. I like Panera, but when I went there, I was thinking, gosh, I want to try and eat healthy. I could stop at McDonald's. I could stop at, there's a pizza place there that's really good too. I'm like, no, I'm going to stop at Panera, and then I got a salad and like a half a sandwich. So that was a lifestyle, like their healthy eating lifestyle, kind of called to me today. Not that there were probably as many calories in that as if I had to stop to get a piece of pizza, but it is their segmentation. They are calling out to those that, hey, you want healthy food, you want things made with good ingredients, healthy ingredients, you can get that at Panera. So it actually worked on me today, and the sandwich and the salad were really good. So I was happy with that. But that's another way you can segment. And I think some of your products that you guys are selling can very much, the hand sanitizer, the bags, the juice, those can all really segment well to people that are, maybe trying to live more green, so stay eco-friendly, those kinds of things, that are trying to stay healthy. Those are all ways that you could sell those products in those areas. Behavioral segmentation. So based on consumer knowledge, attitudes, how people have responded to your product in the past, or how maybe focus groups have, that way you can segment in those ways as well. So we've already talked about business marketing, so business buyers and marketing to them. Consumer and business marketers are kind of similar. So you're going to market in the same way. It's just those additional variables of purchasing, situational factors, all of the different elements of an operation, if you're trying to sell to a business buyer, that you need to keep in mind. It's not as simple as saying, hey, we're Panera, we like to provide healthy food. It's more extensive than that when you're talking about a business buying situation, but lots of options there as well. In international markets, you need to think about, so let's say you're looking to do your segmentation, and you're looking to go global. And I think that's the focus of our class, but it's also really important to think about all of those different factors in those different international markets. We think about it here in the US, we think about, oh gosh, it's different marketing here in PA than it is marketing in New York, even though we're only a few hours away. But the cultural and political factors that impact New Yorkers are very different than what impact Pennsylvanianers. I don't even know folks from Pennsylvania. I'm not sure what. I've been a New Yorker my whole life. I was only from Pennsylvania for a short period of time, so I'm not sure what they would call them. But so the political and the cultural impacts very different states, even though they border one another across a very wide border, but very different. So we see that right within this country here in the U.S. We certainly will see it internationally. The cultural factors alone and the political factors having to do with trade and moving product from place to place, so important to understand segmentation and understand the operations and the economic factors that are in play there as well. So if you're looking to market to multiple international markets, just keep all of those segments in mind and target your marketing appropriately. So a target market is a set of buyers who have a common characteristic. So all of those middle-aged women looking to lose weight, all of those middle-aged guys that are looking to have that testosterone boost, all of those folks that are interested in living a healthy lifestyle and wanting to buy a salad from Panera. Those are your target markets, and you use those target markets to market to them appropriately. So here is just kind of a flow chart that details the breadth or width, I guess, of the marketing strategies. So over here on this side, mass marketing. So that's when I talked about like Coca-Cola and Apple and Anheuser-Busch selling stuff at the level of the Super Bowl, those kinds of things. Mass marketing, they don't care. It could be men, women, young people, older people, all different cultures, races, anything that you can think of would be in that mix. And they're just marketing to people overall. And to businesses sometimes as well. We're going to start to move over to the right and see all of those different options. So differentiated or segmented marketing is marketing to those segments, psychographic segments, behavioral segments, geographic segments, demographic segments as well. So those are all those that differentiated marketing. Then you're going to get into really concentrated marketing or niche marketing. So let's say that you're looking, I'll use my business. So my business is very much a niche business. I do compliance consulting. So I'm not going to do mass marketing, and I'm not even going to do segmented marketing. I'm going to do niche marketing and micro marketing to focus my marketing activity on those that need my product. So I'm going to be looking at physician practices, hospitals, etc., in an area where I'm able to work. So if I need to go on site, I'm certainly not going to go to California. It's going to be very expensive for the client. So I'm going to be looking for work in, like currently I do the majority of my work in New York and Pennsylvania. Now I'm going to expand that to Florida. So I'll do more work and more marketing down there to gain some clients there. So niche marketing is kind of that next level down. Okay, I'm looking to market to this particular type of customer in this geographic area. And then that micro marketing is really narrow. And we actually see large companies do micro marketing here in the US. And I can't speak for Grenada or other areas, but here in the US we see this. A good example are beer companies. So a beer company will put up a billboard here in the Pittsburgh area, like Labatt Blue. So Labatt Blue is generally a Canadian beer, but it's known to be associated with hockey. It's a good beer if you like beer and you like just general tasting beer. It's not a bad beer, but it's very much a hockey beer. And you go to hockey games in Canada or you go to hockey games in like in New York. You're always going to see Labatt Blue, either Labatt or Molson, one or the other. Those are the two types. Here in Pittsburgh, it's very difficult to get a Labatt at a bar. Like they don't typically have that here, unless they're a bar that shows hockey games, and then they'll have it. But what's interesting is that they're very much marketing, whoever is the Labatt distributor here is very much marketing to that market, to the hockey market, because you'll see billboards around town during hockey season that say, come support the Penguins, drink Labatt Blue. Like somehow by drinking Labatt Blue, you're supporting the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is the NHL team here in town. So it's a very interesting micro-marketing strategy by a very large company, or perhaps by the distributor, but very interesting very focused, very narrowly targeted to hockey fans here in Pittsburgh that are fans of the Penguins. Like, I like to drink a Labatt Blue sometimes, but I don't like the Penguins. So I see those ads and I'm like, I'm not interested. But so very, very targeted, very much micro marketing. Um, a niche market may be hockey in general. So if you were to say, hey, let's support the NHL and drink a Labatt Blue, that would probably be more of a niche marketing technique. It's when they get down to that local level that it's very much a micro marketing technique. So we've already talked about most of these. I do this all the time. I talk about I apologize for that. So we've talked about these things: concentrated, niche marketing, micro marketing, local marketing, etc. So what's key with targeting? So you're going to, obviously, we talked about segmentation. We'll create our segments, and then we'll say, okay, these are our segments. Who within these segments are we going to target, and how are we going to do it? So that's when these types of strategy sessions come in. What are our resources? What is the variability of the product? So sometimes you have a product that's only available in the summer or in the winter or only for a couple of months. So, you need to create your marketing around that. The life cycle stage, is this a product that's on its way up? So it's going to get more and more popular? Or is it something that's on its way down and you're looking to kind of boost that again? So understand where your product is in its life cycle. Market variability is a big thing. And I don't mean to harp on alcohol tonight. I think it's because I would like a glass of wine. I don't have one here at this house, which has nothing in it. Market variability. We've seen in the US, and I'm sure other countries have faced this as well, a significant increase in alcohol consumption with the quarantines. Because, not so much here in PA, because it's very difficult still to purchase alcohol here. You have to go to specific stores during specific hours. Most grocery stores don't carry beer or wine here, so it's very difficult to get alcohol here in PA. But there has been a significant increase, even with bars being closed and whatnot, because people are bored. So they'll go to the store and purchase some beers or wine or something to kind of self-medicate a bit and let off some steam and enjoy themselves. So that was very much a variability in the market. It wasn't about beer companies advertising like, hey, drink our beer, while you're tailgating a baseball game or while you're hanging out at a buddy's barbecue, because those things weren't happening. It was more about, hey, here's our beverage. Enjoy it. Enjoy time with your family or your friends in your home, having a beverage. And it was very much a variance in the market. We saw that with food as well. Like a lot of companies like Blue Apron and HelloFresh were coasting along and doing pretty well. And then with the quarantine, they went whoop. Huge demand for their service because people didn't want to go to the grocery store. They wanted to make food at home because they were afraid to buy food from external vendors. I wasn't. We had tons of Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash and everything else because I wanted to support local business. But a lot of folks were afraid of that. And so it caused variance in the market, and companies had to, switch on the fly. Okay, yeah, hey, the grocery store, we can do, curbside pickup. You don't have to come in the store. We can put together meal kits for you. Restaurants started putting together meal kits. So choosing those target markets and varying their marketing based on the market variability in itself is important. And then understanding what your competitors are doing, always important. Product position. So you have your segmentation and targeting, and then you want to make sure you're positioning your product accurately. So product position is really about how customers see you. What attributes are seen in your product? And I think IKEA is a good example. I can speak from experience, having had a child that just finished 4 years of college, as well as just moving myself. IKEA is great. It's a great company. Their products are okay. They're not great, but they're okay. They will last an adequate amount of time for the amount of money you pay for them. but they're very stylish, and they're the kinds of things that folks want, but they can also afford them. So IKEA doesn't play itself off as, and I apologize for the stories tonight, but so here in this house in Pittsburgh, when we first moved here, we bought furniture from Bob's Discount Furniture. So one should know when they're purchasing something from a place called Bob, they position themselves as Bob's Discount Furniture. We are a cheap furniture store. And we knew we weren't going to be here for long, so we bought that furniture. Well, I can say that we spent a lot of money on it. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't, I guess it was discount, but it was still quite expensive. I think we spent $1,400 on a chair, a couch, and an ottoman, and a new mattress. So not super cheap. And when we tried to move it out of here, just a couple weeks ago, 2 years after we purchased it, it was in pretty rough shape, and it is in Florida, and it's surviving there. My husband and I went to IKEA the other day to purchase a new entertainment center because ours was destroyed in the move, unfortunately, and we were looking at couches and chairs in there that were priced probably at least half of what we paid at Bob's Discount Furniture. Looked much more attractive. And we're like the type of couch you see in this picture. They were nice, they were comfortable, and yes, there's something that you're probably going to replace in a few years. But when you only spend $400 on it, you don't feel so bad about it. When you spend $1,000 on something, it's disappointing when you have to replace it. So IKEA really does position themselves as that life improvement store. Okay, I can help you fix everything from your living room to your bedroom to your kitchen, and in that process, you'll get furniture that is reasonably priced. And yeah, you may have to replace it in a couple of years, but probably in a couple of years you'll want to change your design anyway. So that's where IKEA really places themselves, and it's very effective. I love IKEA. So and it reminds me I need to order some stuff from them tonight because they didn't have what we needed in the store. So that's really how they differentiate themselves from some place like Bob's Discount Furniture, which kind of has a negative connotation. IKEA is your life improvement store. Great stuff, good prices, and as long as they have them in stock, you're in good shape. Plus, you have to have a lot of Allen wrenches to put those things together. It's tough to put those together, but I leave that to my husband. So you want to choose a strategy that will differentiate your business and position it to get to those segments and those targets that you're looking to get at. So you'll need to really create value you need to create a value statement for your particular situation. So again, we'll go back to the weight loss drug for women, or for people generally. So weight loss drug, you need to differentiate yourself from other similar weight loss drugs. Okay, well, yes, there are tons of different over-the-counter supplements on the market. There are other prescription drugs that are only available for those that are morbidly obese. We're right in the middle. We are FDA approved. We have clinical trials that support our product, and we are targeting folks that need to lose 25 to 30 pounds overall. But then when you do you're positioning yourself there. Okay, that's where I am. Then you need to kind of take that to the next level and target those different markets. So you're going to provide one targeted marketing message to middle-aged women, one targeted marketing message to middle-aged men, etc. So make sure that you're choosing the right advantages, selecting the right strategy, and then communicating it appropriately to everybody. Competitive advantage is what we're looking for. So we always want to show that we are providing better value to our customers than our competitors are. So maybe it's because we have a really great product. It may cost more, but it's a really great product. Or we might be providing an adequate product at a lower price. So IKEA provides adequate products at a lower price than Bob's Discount Furniture, who provided an adequate product at a high price. So it depends on where you want to put yourself, but you want to make sure that you have an advantage over your competition. The one thing that you really want to do is show how you are distinctive from others. That's really key. So what is distinctive about your products? With IKEA, I personally, because I like that modern design, I think that their design mechanisms, and they have many, are distinctive. It's not just a big puffy couch, which is what we had here. You can get a sleek couch. You can get ones with big puffy things. You can get ones that are modular. They have a multitude of them, and they're all reasonable in price. Creating a distinction between yourself and others is important. And then, especially right now, things being affordable can really help to differentiate you because there's so many people that are struggling. Some are unemployed, some are kind of underemployed, having jobs much less than what they had in the past due to all of the COVID stuff. So, being affordable is really a good strategy right now, and showing that you provide value for what your costs are. So, a value proposition is that full mix of all of those benefits. So we kind of have a matrix. We've seen lots of matrices. These types of things down here that are in the red, those are losing value propositions. So that's showing, like here, you have more price, so a higher price for less benefit. So that's down here. We certainly would never want that. So anything that's red is very much a losing value proposition. In the middle is like, unless you're really differentiating yourself, nobody's certainly going to jump to you to get that product. These out here on the outside, these are the ones that are potential winning value propositions. We have more price, we're more expensive, but we also provide much greater benefit. So that could be a winner. The same price, but more benefit, or more for less. All very popular. We might provide the same benefit as others for less price, or we provide less benefit for much less price. So those all of those green ones are things that are value winning value propositions overall. So ultimately, what we want to do is create a positioning statement. This is kind of a format that we can use. So to something, whoever our target segment is, our brand, whatever that is this, and here's how it's different. So here's an example. To busy multitaskers who need help remembering things, Evernote is a digital content management application that makes it easy to capture and remember moments and ideas from your everyday life using your computer, phone, tablet, and the web. So it's really differentiating. It's saying the target market, busy multitaskers, who are what is the need? What are they looking for? Well, they need help remembering things, and that's your brand. And what does it do for them? It's a digital content management application, and it makes it easy to capture and remember moments kind of across that continuum of electronics. So really important that you can put that together for your company as well. We'll go back here. Who is your target market? What is your brand? What is your concept? And what makes you different from other people that are selling that same product? And that's really the key there. Once you've created that positioning strategy, that positioning statement, then you need to try and implement it. And that can be difficult. It can be, especially if you're making a shift from one position statement to another. Companies that pivot from paper to electronic, those types of things can be difficult to change that position, but it's really important to do so. So you need to consistently come out with a new message, communicate that to customers, potential customers, current customers, and maintain that pressure to keep up that image overall. So that was a lot of talking. I apologize. So this is the assignment we'll talk about next week. Obviously, you've already completed it at this point, I'm assuming, but we'll be talking about that next week. And like I said, I will put up an update for the assignments to kind of space them out better throughout the term. So thank you for obliging me. I realize this was long. Feel free to, well, it's too late now. So feel free to listen in increments. Maybe I'll put that in the notes because this is pretty lengthy. And otherwise, I will see everyone next week. Please let me know if you have any questions about the updated assignments once that's posted, as well as any questions moving forward. I do have grading to do for you guys. I actually, this morning I sat down to work on it, and then something else came up, and then I had to get on an airplane. So I may try and do that tonight, or I may try and work on that tomorrow, but that will be done shortly. I will grade the the Harley Davidson. I started to look at them. They look good, but I'll get back in there and grade that. And then I may wait to grade the Wendy's one. I might start to take a look at it. I'd like to talk through it first, but we'll go where we go when we get to that point. So everyone have a wonderful week, and I will see everyone next Thursday. Thanks a lot.